All right, so it's me again, part two of this intro and getting into chapter one. So, the ways of experiencing the wild woman. Am I outgoing? Am I? Yeah. Okay, so I'm new to this technological videotaping of myself, and bear with me. Um, I hope the last one worked out. I really need to put in subtitles too. So, again, bear with me. Um, so, ways of experiencing the wild woman is really unique per person and how your life. So, she gets into the intro. It's basically sensory experiences, starting out with motherhood, love, um, and then you can get it through vision, through sound, written, spoken word, inspiration, and then heart feels. So, whether that be hurt or expanding in love and growth. So, what what does that mean for you? Where do you find her? Where do you want to find her? If you feel detached from that and you really want to feel more attached, that's okay. Dig in and do what feels good to you. If you want to um, go out and hike more and look for plants, if you want to learn about that, you can do that. Don't feel like that's something you can't do. Everyone can dig into that, even if you are an unconventional wild woman. That's what we're here for. So, I want to get into that a little bit, the wild woman. And I am a fire starter for a program called Wellbriety through a institution, nonprofit called White Bison. It's a Native American community, 12-step community, and I did a training to be a fire starter for survivors of homicide. And in that, we learned, I'm gonna turn this down. In that, we learned that a healthy community is like a healthy forest. So I'm gonna alter that a little bit, but still use their practices. That a healthy woman is a healthy forest, or healthy women are healthy forests. So, liken yourself to a healthy tree. You've got healthy roots below you, you've got healthy trunk, and then you've got healthy branches, leaves, and everything. So, healthy body, mind, spirit. And that is something I'm going to be getting into in some of my workshops. And so this is just kind of teaser. Um, but that is definitely something Clarissa gets into on her own. So basically, just a little closing up the intro. Um, she talks about the eyes of intuition. We all have intuition, every man and woman. It's just some people say women have it more than men, and we've developed it more than men. That is a big part of being mothers and having that actual physical connection to other beings. Men can do it too. I know some men with amazing intuition. So I don't like to say just women have good intuition because men have it too. But since I'm dealing with mostly women here, thank you. I love you all. We want to talk about the eyes of intuition that she's talking about in the book here. And intuition is more than just an eye. She talks of it in a way that is like a starry night, and you're seeing stuff like through many eyes, through many stars. And when developing your intuition, think on that level that you are seeing through many eyes. You're seeing through your eyes, you're seeing through your mom's eyes, you're seeing through your friend's eyes, you're seeing through all these different lenses, other word, to develop the intuition. And that's also like the eyes, like that's also sensory things. Like some people say their intuition lives in their nipples. Some people get really hard, tingly sensations when things don't feel right, or things that they need to process. And so intuition is different for everyone. I encourage you to dive into that and what that means for you, so that you can start to live in your intuition, because this book demands it. And so she also talks about finding a pack, likening women to wolves. We all need a pack, they all need a pack, we all die without a pack. One thing that was really predominant for me as a child was seeing all these women in the Midwest without a pack. They were the leader of the pack, and the pack didn't really want to be with them. So the pack was their family, their kids, their husband, whatever, who was just kind of like aloof, and then there was this strong, beautiful woman. And those women lost their pack. They didn't think it was important enough to keep other women in their life. And so they left their friends and their sisters behind. And I saw that very young as a child and was just like, no, can't do this. And a lot of that was kind of inspiration from my mom, because my mom has a very unique experience in her own way. We all do. And so I saw that and I was just like, no, I can't. I have to have friends my whole life. It is probably the most important thing to me out of everything, is having good, strong, friendly relationships, especially with other women. And so Clarissa talks about finding your pack. I just want to say, like, this is your pack. This is my pack. I want you to feel safe here, to open up and be your true self and not be held by what is going on in your life. We're here for the evolution into our own freedom. So, welcome. This is our pack. And the last thing from the intro that really spoke to me was when Clarissa was talking about the wild woman, how the wild woman lives in the guts. So, gut intuition, people are like always like, listen, what does your gut say? Listen to your gut. At least that's what people I've been around say. It's just like, what does your gut say? And that's like, what does your nerves say? That means a lot. But I thought it was really cool, because when I read Clarissa say, the wild woman lives in the gut, I was like immediately like, whoa, nutrition. In the Western world, in the US here, we're fed white sugar, we're fed white flour, we're fed all of these inflammatory foods to make our gut just go bah, and be super angry at us. And that is affecting the wild woman hardcore. I don't know if that was intentional. I'm always going to say that was intentional, but that is a huge thing. If you feel like your wild woman isn't as fine-tuned as she has been or could be, maybe look at your diet. That is a big deal, because our mind and our gut are directly related. And so when things aren't right with our diet, our minds aren't right either. Like, we all kind of realize that sometimes with depression. I do. So yeah, that I was just like, whoa, wild women gut. That's pretty cool. So I want to transition into chapter 1 now. It went so fast, chapter 1 did. And the biggest, I need to shift in because I highlighted some. For the story that she talks about, La Loba, the wolf woman, in chapter 1. Chapter 1 is the How a Resurrection of the Wild Woman. So La Loba is a story of a woman who searches the lands for bones and ultimately is looking for all the bones to one particular animal, the wolf. And when she finds them, she breathes on them, sings on them, brings them to life. And that is much of a metaphor for nurturing back the bits of ourselves that have been lost. So that story is huge because I just got it. The first time I read it, I didn't get it. But that's a big part about finding yourself, is like searching for those bits and pieces. And La Loba is within our own selves. La Loba is deep within us. I hope y'all don't have problems with bones. I love bones, so for me, I'm like, yeah, the bone woman, the bone collector. And I also have wolf ancestry. My people are the Wolf Clan in Ireland, so I'm just like, I'm all about the wolf woman. And so read this story, really think about how maybe some sides of you have been lost. Something that was really big for me was looking at my childhood and what I was interested in, and how those have found themselves back in my life. And for me, it was stones, and it was natural elements that I felt were taboo. And as I started to grow outside of my family and I was able to move away from my family, I realized, like, this isn't taboo. And I might seem weird, but it's not taboo. And I'm sorry if it is taboo for other people. I highly encourage talking about that in this community. I'm here to help navigate out of that. This is going to be a big thing. This is going to be conversations from women all over the world. So please, I'm trying to be culturally sensitive. I understand that I am privileged. I'm super privileged to be in this part of the world, in California, with my mom, doing huge healing work to understand why I have pain. I am lucky. I want anyone who feels they can benefit to use me and what I have done and the work I have done. And I want to be here for ladies who aren't where I'm at. You'll get there. We'll get there. I trust. I love you. Thank you. So, getting back into the book. Another thing that was really beautiful to me on page 29 in this edition that I have, throughout the book, Clarissa talks about the life, death, life goddess or mother woman within us all. And that really spoke to me with doulas, life and death doulas. I'm a death doula. Someday it'd be cool to be a life doula. I think it's important to be both if you're doing the work. And it is, we are both. We are naturally, inherently both, bringing life through us, and then being able to nurture life as it goes away. So it is not just something that I'm able to do, it's something that we're all able to do. And it's really cool because Clarissa talks about this role that we all have as the life, death, life, maiden, mother, goddess, crone, everything. And honestly, this is like the first biggest heavy hitter for me in the whole book. She talks about a lot in this book, but this was like the first, like, yes, girl, we need to talk about this. We need to get in this. This is big. The first biggest thing is the great work that we all have that needs to be done is that is letting live and die. So basically understanding, I'm going to go straight to the quote, understanding what needs to live and die in our life and letting that be, letting that happen, not letting it, or not like holding on to things, and because that's where shit can really go down, for lack of better terms, is when we hold on to things and just like, I'm too afraid, and then like blows up in our face and he cheats on us, or I don't know what the answer is for you, but her quote is, the great work before us is to learn to understand what around and about us and what within us must live and what must die. Our work is to apprehend the timing of both, to allow what must die to die and what must live to live. So that's pretty big. Control. That touches pretty greatly on control, and that's something in my family that has been a problem, is control. And for everyone, men and women, is just being control freaks. And I, being the youngest, have always been the controlled. So I don't want to control other people. I don't like controlling other people. It's just like disgusting. So that's not my jam. And so this really speaks to that, because it's like we can't control anything, so we shouldn't want to control anything. And the biggest thing, one of the biggest lessons in life, is just learning what in our hearts needs to be let in and what needs to be let out in our lives, whether that be toxic people, toxic situations, beautiful people with difficult situations that you need to keep. You know, there's a lot of different things, but ultimately just learning to not to want to control, and if something needs to go, let it go. And that's definitely what this whole first chapter is so much about, is learning that ticket of ancestral shadow work. So like kind of jumping there from learning what needs to live and die to like doing the shadow work so you can get there, so you can find out what bones need, like gather up those bones and see what needs to be, what fits and what is in place and what does and what doesn't work. I'm sorry, I feel like I totally just sidestepped there, and I need to get my own brain back into order. So we're talking about bones now. Back to La Loba. I kind of just want to close out before I get cut off on the video again. She ends out the chapter basically just bluntly saying, like, if you want advice, go dig for it. Go gather bones. And that's kind of the funnest thing, because it's like, we know the advice. We can find the advice. It's in here. And so go gather up the bones. Like, I guess this is kind of like homework for us all, is go gather up the bones. Go dig up what's within you, what's dead, what needs to be revived. Go dig up what needs to be buried completely. Go dig up what needs to be burnt and then thrown to the wind. So we're embarking on this book like not able to hide anymore. The first chapter is asking you, like, do you want to do this work? Like, are you curious? Do you want to know more? If you do, go gather bones. This book held me accountable for the choices I make and the choices I made. And upon reading this book, I was like, I can't be the same person I was before. I can't hide from the things I'm doing and the choices I'm making, because like they're in my story and they're in these stories. Like they're all this, like we're all the same, and we all make these really like, ooh, I'm gonna do this and think I'm gonna get away with it, and then it's like your heart's like, no, you didn't get away with it. You made a decision that hurt. And so do you want to do the work? Do you want to gather the bones? I don't want to hide anymore. This year is really big about not hiding, and not hiding from the choices I've made that have gotten me to where I am and who I am. And I've never wanted to hide, but I've never been out there with other people like this before. So thank you for being here. Part 2 of the intro and chapter 1 of Women Who Run with the Wolves. Thank you for being patient with this fuzzy background. I love you, and have a good night. I'm gonna go to Al-Anon with my mom because she asked me to. I think it's really kind to do that kind of stuff for people in your life if you have them. So thank you. Bye.